Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Ocean Ridge March Commission meeting. Kelly, could you take the roll, please?
Commissioner Ayala,
Here.
Commissioner Hutchins is absent with notice. Commissioner Cassidy. Here. Vice Mayor Cos.
Here.
And Mayor Pugh.
Here. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
I would just like to make a brief comment at the end.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a deletion from the agenda. The presentation from the natural gas area, the gentleman is unable to make it tonight, so we'll have to reschedule that.
All right. Hopefully next month.
Yes, sir.
Another 20 years.
Commissioner. It's gonna happen.
I'm a no.
All right, is there any other additions, deletions? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to accept the agenda with the changes as discussed.
Second.
All right, motion second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. All right, move on to the proclamation for Mr. Ambrose.
This is a proclamation honoring Centurion Thomas Ambrose. Whereas on the 14th day of February 1926, a remarkable life began, one that would span a full century of history, progress, challenge, and triumph. And whereas over the course of 100 extraordinary years, he was born witness to events that shaped our nation and our world, including the hardships of the Great Depression and the courage and sacrifice of the era of the World War II. And whereas through decades marked by profound transformation, from the advent of modern air travel to the age of space exploration, from the dawn of television to the rise of the digital era, he has stood as steady and enduring presence. And whereas a cherished resident of Ocean Ridge, residing on Hudson Avenue, he has enriched his community through his presence, wisdom, and the quiet dignity that accompanies a well-lived life. And whereas throughout his century of life, he has exemplified strength of character, devotion of family, steadfast friendship, and a spirit of perseverance that inspires all who know him. And whereas reaching this extraordinary milestone of 100 years is a rare and distinguished achievement, representing not only longevity, but a lifetime of wisdom, experience, and treasured memories. Now therefore, I, Jeff Pugh, Mayor of the Town of Ocean Ridge, on behalf of the Town Commission and the entire Ocean Ridge community, do hereby celebrate Thomas Ambrose for 100 amazing years.
Well, that's your proclamation. About everything. And
Let me just say, I've been in Ocean Ridge, the first visit was 1956. Oh, and we bought in 1973. And I'm 100 years old. I turned 100 years old 2 weeks ago. So I spent over half of my life here. It's 52 years ago we bought, and in 48 we were away. And over half of my life I spent in Ocean Ridge.
Fantastic.
Big Ocean Ridge.
Paid for that lot. How much money did you pay for that lot?
I paid 13,000 for it.
Wow.
That's a good one.
We bought the Eastern Timber rattlesnake on the backyard. It was a small rattlesnake, and there was actually an Indian mound in the alley. Because there were early Indians here several hundred years ago. The Indian mound of broken pottery. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
A timber rattler snake, and a pound relics from the early Indians, Osceola, whatever they were.
Yeah.
It lived in Ocean Ridge.
You should put a plaque there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any member of the garden club here?
Yeah.
Is the president here?
No.
Well, you give that paper to one of the girls.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a member of the garden club with Tor for 50 years.
They got the Garden of the Month award in October of 2001.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Congratulations again, Mr. Ambrose. GFOA Professionals Week proclamation. Kelly?
The Government Finance Professionals Week of March 16th through the 20th, 2026. Whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association is a professional association founded in 1937 and serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges and universities, special districts, and private firms. And whereas the FGFOA is dedicated to being your professional resource by providing opportunities through education, networking, leadership, and information. And whereas this Government Finance Professionals Week, sponsored by the FGFOA and all of its member governmental organizations, is a week-long series of activities aimed at recognizing government finance professionals and the vital services that they provide to our state and our community. And whereas during this week, government finance professionals throughout the state of Florida will be acknowledged for their hard work, dedication, and leadership. Now therefore, I, Jeff Pugh, as mayor, and on behalf of the town commission, do hereby proclaim March 16th through the 20th, 2026 as Government Finance Professionals Week in the town of Ocean Ridge, and extend our appreciation to all government finance professionals throughout the state and here in town of Ocean Ridge for their hard work, dedication, and leadership.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the announcements. Kelly? Don't stop now.
The meeting schedule for the next month is as follows. The next regular town commission meeting will be Monday, April 6th at 6 p.m. The code enforcement hearing for tomorrow has been canceled. The planning and zoning board meeting will be Tuesday, March 17th at 9 a.m. And all meetings are held in the commission chambers at Town Hall. Just a reminder that there will be no municipal election in March, as only 2 candidates qualified to fill the 2 town commission seats. Those candidates that qualified are Carolyn Cassidy and David Hutchins, and both commissioners will be sworn into office at the town commission meeting on April 6th. And any residents who wish to sign up to receive important town notifications and news throughout Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call Town Hall for assistance.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, public comment. Come on. Terry.
Terry Brown, Harbor Drive South. I haven't lived here longer than Tom, who's been here. We've been here 35 years, and it's a great town to live in. And Lucy and I were talking to the chief about an experience that we had the other night. We don't normally go out on our cart at night, but we were out the other night. And as we were going along, Lucy's iPhone bounced on the cart and went to the street. So by the time we realized that it was gone, we were turning around looking for it with a flashlight and didn't find it. But we told some people who were still walking out at night that we were looking for a pink iPhone. And this nice lady found it and delivered it to the dispatch on her way home. And Officer Mike came to the front door and knocked on the door with this iPhone in his hand. And we were very, very happy. Not that you could do much with it because it was already broken, but fortunately we had paid for the backup. So they were able to retrieve everything. But that was such a personal touch. He knew exactly who we were, which a lot of people do. I realize it's kind of scary that so many people know who we are. So I wanted to thank the chief and the police department, and you'll pass on to Mike. The other thing I wanted to mention briefly, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm not privy to any of the information that you or the attorney or the town manager might have about the sea grapes that were destroyed on Porter Street. It was literally, that's the reason why I wasn't here last month. No, I was because I was so shocked.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it was actually shocking. And there was an incident of about 15 years ago where there was 2 adjacent property owners on Old Ocean, and they had high sea grapes, and the folks who owned one adjacent property decided they would cut it down to 3 feet, which was the code still. And they looked at the other person's sea grapes, which were 6 feet or more, and decided to cut them down as well. That didn't involve public property, it was private property. Well, when the people got back and saw that their sea grapes were cut, They were so steamed that they filed a lawsuit in circuit court. And the people who did that, the next door neighbor, your next door neighbor, had to pay $35,000 in settlement and legal fees to replace the sea grapes. So there is a remedy. Everybody has insurance, and you can get new sea grapes, is what I'm suggesting. Thank you.
Michelle, is there an update on that?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, yes, there is an update. I believe the chief can give you an update at the town level, but also know that beyond what the town is pursuing, we did notify DEP. We have more than one case, and so we've notified DEP, and they have come out and they started their own investigation, and that is wrapping up as we speak as well. And typically, they're punitive, but their measures are about replanting, and so they will make sure that everything is replanted.
Good.
But
That-
not on the side of the town itself, I'll let the chief. give that
It
update.
is 10 feet right there, right? That one. Your
No,
own
there's-
code shows that you're supposed to have windowing. You're supposed to have high sea grapes with windowing. That's in the code.
Well, let's
Since
just wait.
1974.
Let's wait.
And no one pays
DEP.
attention to it.
Let's just wait till DEP final thing comes out. and then
Yeah,
we
but
go.
I'm saying people want to shave them down because they want a view.
Oh, I got you.
And that's all it's
We
about.
have two cases right now that'll go before the April 7th magistrate hearing reference to Porter and another case.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Hi, Lisa Rototo for Hudson Avenue. I want to tell you why we live in this town, some of the really fun things that can happen here. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter's two cats did a Houdini and escaped through my bedroom window because I had them open and the screens were there and they knocked them out. So after me trying to chase them around, one disappeared, didn't see her. The other one chased around the house for about an hour, and my daughter came home most upset. But what did she want me to do? Call the police. So we called the police, and one of the sergeants came out because he had a much better flashlight than we had. But that just goes to show you what kind of town we live in, that I can call on the police for something as crazy as trying to find cats in the night. We caught one of them, but the other one didn't show up till later the next day. But just want to say thank you to your staff, and this is why we live here.
Thank you.
Janet Shines, 120 Dolphin. We noted that there's a consent agenda item this evening about renaming a park. And on behalf of Starbright, we would like to volunteer to fund signage and a celebration for the opening of that park. We did note in the notes that there was not a signage budget. And so we wanted to relieve the town of that. So we're happy to fund any signage that's needed to be done for the park if that helps to influence and get things done here. We just wanted to say that. The second thing is I would like to let everybody know that one of our own residents, Mary Ziv, who is I'm going to say famous because she's amazing. Steve, cabaret singer, will be performing here at Town Hall on March 26th. There's very limited tickets, but I think it's amazing. She's got a recording contract now. She's coming out with an album, and she's donating all of her proceeds again to Starbright to benefit the town. So I wanted to remind people of both those things. And I'll just close up by saying we'd be very honored if you agree to name the park for Betty, and we're happy to support whatever we need to funding wise for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are going to, once we make the sign, we are going to have a little ceremony down there.
And we're happy
dedicating
to,
that.
right, and we're happy to help.
And we'll
fund
let
that.
everybody know when
Right, and we will work with any civic groups we need to do that, but we're happy to help in any way we can.
Well,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Any other public comment? All right, back to the commission. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Right on to the regular agenda items. Let's see here. We got rid of number 12. They didn't show up. They're gonna come next month, right?
They've indicated they'll be here next month.
Number 13, discussion on future charter change.
Mr. Mayor, I'll kick it off and see how you want to take it from there. This is our second time briefly discussing this item. So changing the town charter is a policy and governance decision which involves the electorate. The charter now places a structural cap on voter discretion. Term limits transfer decision-making authority away from the voters of the present and place it in the hands of the past electorate. Restoring the charter's original intent would return the authority to current voters, allowing them to retain experienced leadership when warranted or to choose change at the ballot box on today's conditions, priorities, and trusts. I read that brief portion of your backup information to kickstart what could be a potential change if your elector and your constituents want to see that. So what we've discussed one-on-one is what we believe is good governance, and so I leave it to you all. There's a couple of options here that could kickstart this, and that could be that the commission might decide what proper language should be in the charter if you have a desire to have term limits. And we could put that out there for the general public to see what their thoughts are. But we could also just take away the charter change that occurred in 2019 as well. And so revoking that language would put it back to the original intent of the charter. That could be done also at the commission level. Another option that you could use is putting together another committee, a charter committee again, but it's a single issue. So I think it might be streamlined if the commission has a belief that you can take care of this and move in a direction of talking with your constituents directly. The other option is just do nothing and just leave it the way it is. The beauty of the way this process is set up is it forces you to hold the hands of your voters the whole way. So you present the idea, you get a chance to speak about what you believe good governance looks like, and then you open it up to dialogue with the voters. And so they have an opportunity to speak here at the lectern when we have an ordinance come before us, which would be first reading and of course, second reading. After that, if it passes and you feel strongly about moving forward still, then you would put it onto the referendum and they would have that chance to vote on it. The earliest that could occur would be March of 2027. But those kind of discussions would need to start now, which is why we're starting now. Kelly, your clerk did call the supervisor of elections office to find out what timelines look like. We would need to get this done before the end of summer from a standpoint of what verbiage you would want to have on the ballot. So, it's a process and we have a couple months to do it. So this is a good time to start that conversation.
Okay, so could you put those items you just said into a format? And we could actually talk about it at the next meeting and put it on the agenda as next meeting, those with four different choices, and also that way Kelly can also.
Right?
This four was do nothing.
Option D is in here as a no action.
Yeah, that's the number 4, I thought. But then Kelly can come
Yeah.
back with the timeline as well, too.
We could bring it back again if you like. That would be a third discussion before moving on an ordinance. We could do that. The backup information that I provided now, which is, and I apologized profusely to the vice mayor and I had to make agreements with him that I would not use a 10 font again because it was too much information and very, very, very small. So it makes it difficult to read. But it is in the final backup information that we put in over the weekend. And so that is there if you'd like to take a look at it. We can make it more concise and streamline it and put 4 bullet points if you prefer and put it out for a discussion
And then a timeline.
and a timeline. Okay.
We have the 4 options. Right?
Yeah, but a little more, like you said, in their number 10 and not as streamlined as you'd like to see them. And also I'd like to have Commissioner Hutchins here as well.
Yeah. So just so we're clear, so you're going to reduce it to the 4 options, and then what was the second thing you wanted to share? A timeline.
The timeline.
Timeline. So and from a timeline perspective, if you want to have it on the March ballot, it will be difficult to have a charter committee pulled together and run under sunshine for that, in that short of time. So you might want to consider that.
If we did the second option, which includes setting up a charter commission, you're saying that kind of
that's probably going to
make it
take
difficult.
charter. If you put together a charter committee, you should assume it's going to be at least a year.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is bring it that way, like I say, we wouldn't mind having both our new commissioners here April 1st,
Mhm.
right?
For the next one, yes.
Mhm.
Yes. That's another thing with it, when I look back at your history, sometimes you have a limited pool of candidates that want to run with all of the, new rules that Tallahassee likes to put down for financial reporting and things like that. So it does make it difficult when you have some, constraints like this. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about this for the next handful of years for anybody that's on this board, but you're doing the right thing about talking about it now.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll bring it back again if you like.
Any other question? Michelle? All right, thank you.
Public comment or not?
Sure.
I'm Zoanne Hennigan, and for those of you who probably don't know me, I was the chair of the Charter Review Committee in 2018. Our current mayor was on that committee. We had 5 members that were, at the time, 2 former mayors, 2 former commissioners, and 1 person from the Board of Adjustment. We had 5 meetings over just a couple of months. It did not take a year. It was just a couple of months. And we had recommended 5 amendments. This was in October 2018. The commission approved 4 out of 5 of the amendments that we recommended, and they modified 1. And the one that they modified had to do with term limits. And the committee recommended 3 terms, but to take a 3-year hiatus. And the commission didn't like the 3-year hiatus. They recommended a 1-year hiatus. And so it was put on the municipal ballot in March 2019, and 314 voters approved the term limits for the term limits and then the 1-year hiatus. And the committee's thinking at the time was that 9 years as a commissioner is a long time, and it's prudent to take a break and to recharge your batteries and gain a fresh perspective. And coming from a human resource perspective in corporate America, no one person is indispensable, but we all need a break. And if a commissioner takes a 1-year break and they want to either come back, they can, or they can still stay involved behind the scenes. And we have examples that that's happened. If somebody's very knowledgeable on a topic, even if they don't have a vote, they can behind the scenes still help on a topic that they're knowledgeable on. In the memo that was written, it stated that the will of the voters was a single point in time. But I would propose that not that much has changed since then. But if you feel it has, there's a great opportunity for new people to get involved. We have one in particular here. And in the committee, we discussed that it was intimidating for new people who might have new ideas or new skills to run against an incumbent. And so it seems that this proposal is trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. But if it is the will of the commission to move forward, any movement other than to set up another committee would appear to be self-serving. So for transparency's sake, I would recommend that a committee should be required.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Brown Harbor. I was one of the members, as you were. I was one of the former commissioners. And it was an interesting process. I was in favor of term limits. I originally was in favor of the 3-year break. Didn't work out that way. But I'm in favor of the voters. I was always looking at the voters, not individual commissioners. Although sometimes you'd be surprised, you think someone's not going to turn out to be a good commissioner, and they turn out to be a great commissioner. They work hard, they're well prepared, and they do a lot of things for the community. So that's another way to look at it, that a new person might have a different perspective. At any rate, the one thing that I desired, you might remember, didn't make it out of the committee, was the one regarding changing the ordinance for density and height in this town. And it's not a reflection of anyone, but there's so much construction interest in the town that that was shot down. It's a 5-member committee, so you had to have 3 votes. So there was only 2, And they killed that, you included.
Oh, yeah.
And you might regret that. With all this money around here and everything that's going on in West Palm Beach, all the condos, all the high rises, that might have been able to slow you down if someone comes in and wants to do that. That's what I was looking at, trying to keep the town low profile, principally residential, not large condos. So that didn't make it. So that's where I was. If you're gonna do a ballot initiative, put that back on the ballot.
You can't,
And you don't have a right to block it. I mean, everybody ought to vote for it.
can't do it.
Thank you, Terry.
I know, that's what happened. They preempted you,
Yeah.
and you could have had it in your ordinance at the time.
Thank you, Terry.
Janet Shines, 120 Dolphin. So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of residents don't necessarily understand what it requires to run for commissioner. And if one of the premises is us considering getting rid of term limits is that we worry we don't have enough candidates, which is a totally valid concern. If it is right, if that is real, that's a great concern. I would just ask that as we look at this, some of the options that we put in there are the education to people of how to become a commissioner. I agree with Zoanne. It's a little intimidating to run against an incumbent. So the term limits would help with that, right? Maybe there would be an open seat. But also I think making maybe, and I don't know the Florida laws, so I'd have to look at Christie for this, making rules where people could attend the summer meetings remotely. I know there's other towns in other cities that do that. I don't know Florida rule, but in New Jersey, as an example, many of the people that live remotely in the winter actually attend our town meeting remotely. And that would open your pool up of more residents who are away for a few months in the summer, as an example, to participate. Again, I don't know if that's legal under Florida law, but I would love to see what the legal requirements are for a commissioner laid out in something that could be distributed to the populace, so that the entire town could understand what is the requirements, what are the reporting requirements I think were mentioned up here, what are the attendance requirements, what skills are being looked for, almost a little marketing packet of what does it take to become a commissioner. And let's see if we can appeal to some people wanting to run for commissioner that perhaps thought they either weren't qualified or didn't understand the qualifications, or some wise other limited. Because I do think it's important to get fresh voices. You all do a great job. That's not a reflection on the sitting commission. It's just that all things in government, corporate, and everywhere else benefit from fresh ideas and fresh minds. And so I do think it's important we encourage more people to run. Thank you.
Thank you. So to answer your question, there is, Christie, the state chats here, we have an ordinance regarding remote meetings. You just can't vote because an Ainer.
I've attended remotely.
Yeah.
There's so you have a sunshine law requirements that don't dictate whether you can attend virtually or not. But what the Florida Attorney General has said is that they prefer that when you're at a governing board meeting, that it's only in exigent circumstances that someone appears virtually. That's what the Attorney General recommends. We've talked in the past about potentially doing a policy to address what that really means for the town. We just haven't ever done it.
The other half of that is there has to be a quorum in town.
There has to be a quorum physically present.
Yep.
If you're gonna,
And that's a recommendation, the quorum, or a law?
the quorum requirement is if you're hearing any resolutions or ordinance, there has to be a quorum physically present.
But there can still be remote.
Correct.
Participants, yeah. I
And
think
we
it would
do
be
have-
great to lay
We
it
have
out.
the YouTube access to our meetings now, so anybody anywhere can tune in and see what's
Right.
going on and what we're
Yeah.
talking about and how the process works.
Yeah, it would be great though to kind of issue something that said, this is how you become a commissioner, and, education is good. I think it would encourage other people. So appreciate you listening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for your service.
Does everyone know you can watch these meetings on YouTube within 24 hours? Kelly puts them up.
Or live.
They're like.
Any other public comment on this? I was waiting. The way it took so long.
Been waiting. Christine DeHaas at 29 Sable Island Drive. Number one, I want to start by saying thank you for talking about good governance, because I think this is really the core of what it is. It's not a specific issue. And I think having public comment is good governance. So I think that's wonderful. I think having open and transparent electoral process, good governance. I think forming committees of well-respected folks to help the commission on larger issues, good governance. I will have to say, don't shoot the messenger, but there's something very uncomfortable potentially about having a sitting body as a commissioner coming up with their own recommendations for their own impending term limits. Kind of tastes a little bit like conflict of interest, or at the least a little biased. And I think there was a remark made earlier that nobody's up against term limits. That's not true. We have a term limit in 2027 that would take a commissioner off the dais, and one in 2028 that would take a commissioner off the dais. So, one, okay, there's at least one. Hasn't been discussed for the last 8 years. Interesting that it's coming up now, but you know, that's how governance works. That's good. When Mayor Pugh stepped off the dais after 10, 12 years, how long did
Yeah, I
you say?
think 12 or 15,
Okay,
13.
we didn't crash and burn as a town. We didn't go out of control. We didn't explode. He got to spend more time with his family and friends. Every puffer fish that was in the ocean was scared to death because they knew he was coming after them. And we didn't lose his historical knowledge. We didn't lose his leadership. He stayed involved when he wanted to be involved. And he was actually by demonstration on the charter committee that kind of came up with this. So I'd have to say, I think probably all of our discussion and all of our definitions of good governance is different, which is exactly how it's supposed to be. Everybody has a little bit of a different taste, comes at it from a different thing. But there's some universal truths. And one that my grandmammy taught me, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. I think that applies tonight. So thank you again for having the opportunity to make public comment.
Thank you. Anyone else on this issue? All right. Moving on to our next issue, I have definite disagreement there with a lot of what you said, but we're going to move on to the ordinance for the,
Can I just, Mr. Mayor, do you mind?
go ahead.
So just, you know, just to alleviate any concerns, I think one of the things that really stuck out for me was the part where they said, somebody said, Christina, I think said, this has been this way for this many years and it's not been brought up before. But I've only been here a couple months, so a handful of months. So for me, when I brought it up to the commission, it really is because I take a look down the road of different paths. And I've also had the experience of sitting as an elected official and calling for term limits. I actually did. And I lost that bid when I was on the dais at that time. And that was fortunate. And the reason it was fortunate is because probably 12 years later, we finally were able to get a bridge built in Port St. Lucie that wasn't getting built over time because of turnover that was, you know, potentially causing a ruckus. The other thing that was in previous memos that we didn't talk about is funding. When we go out for funding and you're trying to get, whether it's state funding or even private funding, often they look for the stability. So the best stability this commission has had and this town has had has been from the commission. And that equals money. And so as we're looking to spend a lot of money over the next couple of years, that really was my driving force, is how do we save some money if we have an opportunity to? But if it's not broke, we don't have to fix it. And it really is just an opportunity for at least 4 times for you to speak with the general public about it. And if it doesn't move forward, it doesn't move forward.
And by the way, option A, under option A, I think there's a little misconception here. The commission doesn't do this. The commission decides to put it on a ballot for the public.
Right.
So it's not
The commission would,
commission removing itself.
right, it would,
Public has to vote.
it would
Right.
create an ordinance to repeal language or change language. And then the people get a chance to talk to you at least 2 times formally.
Mhm.
And then they have the last say when they actually vote.
But if it's not worth the exercise.
Well, it's not the commission trying to do something. It's the commission looking at what has transpired over the last 10 years and saying, we've had some commissions that didn't work out too well. And now we're looking at the situation that should we move forward and present this to the voters to vote on? That's what the question is. It's not us doing
It's not a
something.
unilateral thing.
Stella Kolb, 204 Beachway. What I don't understand is there's untruths being spoken here. First of all, the other commission, when she says it wasn't broken, so why fix it, okay? Well, it wasn't broken before. I remember this commission for 20 years, how many people we've had sitting on it. So why did the other commission in 2019 or 20, whenever it started, why did they decide, well, we're going to put it out to vote? Because it's politics, okay? This is a great commission, and if you want to put it out to vote for the people, no problem. I have no issue with that. But I don't like the fact that they think, or anyone would think, that this is going behind everybody's back and it's double-handed. It's not right, and that's not a friendly town. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. All right, I think we beat this up enough. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the ordinance. The artificial turf ordinance, as a matter of fact.
Let me go ahead and read it first. Okay. Ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, amending Chapter 66, Environmental Regulations, Article 4, Landscaping, Division 2, Water Efficient Landscape, Section 66-142, Artificial Turf, Synthetic Grass, to remove the location prohibitions regarding installation of artificial turf in the front yard areas and percentages on use of artificial turf, and providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, this is ordinance 2026-02 on first reading to make changes to the town's existing code on artificial turf. As you know, in last legislative session in 2025, the Florida legislature passed a new law to preempt the area of artificial turf. Once Florida Department of Environmental Protections passes regulations regarding artificial turf or synthetic turf, as they call it. At this time, Florida Department of Environmental Protection has not yet passed those regulations. So at this time, the town's ordinance is still in effect. As was discussed at the February meeting, the Town Commission provided direction to remove the location requirements and the percentage requirements in the town's code. Since that's in the town's land development code, the proposed ordinance was presented to the Planning and Zoning Board that sits as the town's local planning agency pursuant to Florida statute. They reviewed the revisions to the town's artificial turf ordinance, and they recommended not taking any action until FDEP adopts its regulations. And so now this is before you on first reading. It removes the location requirements that are currently in the town's code, and also the percentage limitations in that same subsection C. The only thing that would remain currently in subsection 3 is a limitation from not installing artificial turf in public right-of-way. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Can I elaborate on a conversation I had with our lobbyist today?
Sure.
So yes, in fact, once DEP adopts these rules formally, we will not be able to enforce our ordinance as it's written. And on January 8th, the agency head did approve the guidelines for what they're looking at DEP. None of it says anything about location or where you can put it on your property, unless it pertains to like a tree drip line or close to a waterway. What they're looking at is, making requirements that you can't have any heavy metals or PFAS. They're talking about the quality of the infill material, the subgrade material, color, permeability, stormwater management, proximity to trees. You have to provide access to the septic tank, meaning you can have it over your septic tank. You just have to be able to get to where you need to have it pumped. And it can't be anywhere landward of a dune system. So, what DEP is going to be adopting is not going to
kind of reinforce our location restriction. So whether we act now and do this or wait until DEP issues its final rule,
We're gonna have. to-
eventually we're not going to be able to enforce location.
We understand what the intent is, and the
Yeah.
intent is we're not going to be able to limit it.
Yeah.
And I thought when we talked last time, we said, well, if people want to go ahead and do it now, we should say, if the ultimate rule comes out and says the quality of the turf,
Right.
yours didn't meet it, then you're gonna
Right.
have to rip yours up and put in
Right.
something that meets it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's how I
listened
thought.
to that
that's how
meeting again.
I thought we were gonna go forward.
Yeah.
But you just said something interesting I hadn't heard before, Landward of the Dune. So in other words, my only concern here was Old Ocean.
Mhm.
We wouldn't want that stripped with artificial turf, so they can't do it on the east side of Old Ocean.
The
correct?
way I read it is you can't do it on the east side of Old Ocean.
Okay. And the west side, the town owns how many feet?
10,
10 feet in? And that was considered part of the right of way as well.
that is right away.
So we don't need to do an overlay district on Old Ocean because we're taking this, it's taken care of.
Mhm.
Okay,
But why would we restrict if we know the legislature is going to do it?
Mhm.
right.
And if we have citizens that want to do it,
Well, the legislature's already done it. They've already said
I know,
that once
but
we're
it's
not
subject
going
to
to be
their
able to
rules and they
restrict
just
it.
haven't gotten done with the
Yeah.
rules yet. So
Material.
why would we restrict if people are willing to take the risk
Right.
Right.
that they'll have to rip theirs up and put in even better quality or I should say different quality
Mhm.
based on whatever the ultimate restriction or regs are. I don't understand why we would,
We're not.
No,
Opposite.
we're not. So
No.
I'm just kind of
well,
lending a little bit more.
yeah,
So
Christie.
a couple thoughts. One, the DEP regulations are for residential, single family, 1 acre or less. Right now, your ordinance applies across the board. So if you take out the location requirements, anyone who owns property that's larger than 1 acre could artificial turf their entire front yard, including multifamily. Just keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind, we don't know the final DEP regulations yet. They just finished public comment on the last round. So they could be exactly what they've proposed. It could be something else. We don't know. I do not recommend adopting something and telling people you could do it, but if it doesn't comply with the final DEP rule, then what? Are we going to then take code enforcement and go to people's houses and require them to rip out what they installed because it doesn't comply exactly with the specifications? So those are just some things to think about.
But they'd be warned of that.
we
You're
know
right.
ahead of time that they're taking that risk.
It puts a different responsibility on staff in terms of doing building permits because building permits are based on what's currently permitted in your code. So if we change this ordinance as proposed tonight, then they have to abide by what's in our code. If the DEP rules come out later, DEP could maybe enforce that, but I'm not sure how the town's going to go about enforce that since we gave them a valid building permit.
So when is the DEP supposed to come out with this ruling?
We don't know.
I have no idea.
But they already gave a verbal.
They closed public comment on the current rule February 10th, but I don't know how long it'll be before they finally codify the final rule.
So why don't we just table this ordinance? Then?
That's what P and Z recommended, to just wait and see what happens at the DEP level.
Or could the town, do we have to change the ordinance to just suspend our
Location.
existing ordinance until that happens? Is that a possibility or we have to change the whole ordinance?
Well, if we're there's only two ways to address an ordinance. You either amend it with 2 readings or you repeal it with 2 readings. Otherwise, it's what's on your books. If you wait until DEP final rule comes out, then we can also comprehensively go through the existing ordinance to make sure our material requirements match up with DEP requirements, or just simply adopt DEP regulations as the town's requirements so that they're consistent.
Well, we would adopt DEP because that's the state law.
So why don't we just table this ordinance until the DEP comes out? It should be forthcoming, I would imagine. The legislature's already passed it.
I think that.
But I think if someone comes in and wants to put it,
Right.
they'd have a valid argument and then you have those one-on-one conversations, right?
If we know, if we know what the intent of the state is, and we know what's going to end up happening, look, I don't even like artificial turf. I'm never gonna put it in my yard, but if we know that's what's gonna happen, I'm a little uncomfortable saying we're gonna restrict residents who own the property, who know what the state intends for them to be able to do, and to tell them you can't do it because we're gonna wait until the ink isn't dry on the regs yet. I mean, we know they're gonna allow it. We just don't know exactly which kind of turf they're gonna put in there. Their little rules as to
Materials.
the materials, yeah. So if somebody's willing to take that risk, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think we're gonna have 1,000 people doing it, so I don't think it sounds like a huge staff burden to me, but I'm just saying, I don't really like restricting citizens' rights to do things unnecessarily, and this feels kind of like we're unnecessarily not letting people do something, but I'll go with the rest of the commission.
Why not put a time limit on suspending the ordinance, make a consensus?
What do you mean?
If there's not a decision within 3 months from the DEP, then we bring back this ordinance.
And remove the location
And
language
remove
at that
the-
time.
Yeah,
What's your best
That's
guess?
reasonable.
Christie, do you have a guess?
Don't have
Could
again.
it literally sit around for a year?
It's already been a year
well,
since
it is
they
DEP.
passed the
They
legislation
passed it in
last year.
July.
Yeah, so
Well,
How about public
hasn't
comment?
been a year.
Terry, I know you gotta say something. I mean, you're moving around in your seat.
Terry Brown. Well, I'm actually the wrong person to talk about this because this is bad stuff. It's ugly. It doesn't do all the stuff they say it does. There's successful lobbying by the large manufacturers, and they've been successful almost all of this in California. Ecologically sound state. They have artificial turf in playgrounds. And they make this stuff. Every manufacturer makes it differently, but they do make it with ground up tires. And they come apart and they go into rivers,
But
they
Terry,
go into
that's-
streams.
That's old.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but that's already been decided. I mean, they're already going forward. with it.
I know, that's what I'm just trying to point out, that not everybody in the world sees it the same way.
Well,
Correct.
but the state is
So,
gonna let them.
And I want anecdotally, I want to mention what Christie said about the size of the single family home under an acre or less, right, Christie? Well, the property next to Barbara and Dan Cook, which used to be owned by that guy, Don Brown,
Yeah.
is now on the market for, I think, $13 million. It's a 4-acre plot, most of it's wetland. But you measure floor area ratio based on the lot size. He could wrap that whole house in artificial turf.
Where's the?
Thanks, Terry.
Where's that located?
Right there, the Du Bois. place.
6540.
The one right next to Dan and Barbara Cook House.
It seems to me, what I read about the artificial turf, they don't even really know whether it's an environmentally sound. As it gets older, it emits fumes that could cause various diseases. It doesn't absorb the water. I don't see any benefits of artificial turf, and I think the problems that it's going to cause 15 years down the drain is going to be monumental.
But Ocean Ridge can't decide that. It's being
The state's
decided at
deciding it,
state
yeah.
level. It's already been decided. So we can't overrule the state.
And that's why
Yeah.
DEP is looking at all of those things, the metals, the
I know.
PFAS, the
But
permeability.
I'm saying I don't think it's a good
That's just Betty's opinion on it.
subject.
Yeah, no,
I-
a lot of us agree with you.
We should turn it down before we discuss it.
Can't turn.
Thank you, Betty.
Stella Kolb, 204 Beachway. I agree with Jeff. Let's table this. I will never get artificial turf as you, but if somebody else wants it and, everybody's looking at what their property is, it's my property, I can do what I want with it. Well, let's table it. And last month, we spent over 40 minutes on this, so let's stop it.
Okay, we'll bring it back to commission. So
Mr.
what's
Mayor.
the consensus?
Let me just say just one thing. All right, so we already have an ordinance that allows for this product. Like it or not, we already have an ordinance. The state has already let us know the intent, and that is going to be that their intent is to disallow cities and towns to say you can't put it anywhere you want. So we're still going to have an ordinance that says it's allowed. That's not going to change. What we were talking about tonight was just changing it from being only a certain portion of your yard allowed to have artificial turf, to saying we're eliminating the discussion and the parameters of the location. The location is the issue. So if the commission wants to delay this portion of the first reading, because you want to have a 360-degree ordinance that looks at everything and captures everything, I understand, I still have to run the business. So just know that you will still be getting phone calls from residents that are being asked to fall within the parameters as they go to install their turf.
Christie, if somebody brought a lawsuit, if we had a resident who said we were being unreasonable and brought a lawsuit, what would be the chances that they would win, and would we have to pay legal fees to defend ourselves, et cetera? I mean, I just don't know how that.
From a legal standpoint, right now, the town can have whatever kind of ordinance it wants to on artificial turf. Until DEP adopts the regulations, there's no preemption. We have to wait till DEP adopts the regulation. So if someone came in now and wanted to sue the town over its existing ordinance, there's no basis for that lawsuit because DEP hasn't adopted its regulations.
There's one other thing you gotta remember too, that if anybody wanted, if we delayed this for 3 months, anybody who was going to put in turf would already have pulled a permit, would already have thought about it. They already had a building permit. They've been in the process of building their house, changing the landscape. It would be already a process. It would only be the people that came in after today
To build something.
that it may change. So a 3-month hiatus between.
It's a small amount of,
It's
small
a
number.
very small amount of time.
Let's just.
And
let's
I don't
wait then.
really I don't believe it would affect anybody, honestly. Unless you just.
If it's not gonna affect many
decided
people, then I don't care. Yeah.
A knee-jerk reaction to put turf in.
Then if everybody wants to just wait until we get some regs, or wait at least 3 months. And then we'll revisit it. Want to do that?
Is, Carolyn, from your knowledge, is there any chance this will happen within 3 months?
They don't know.
They can't even get a budget.
What?
Yeah, they can't even get it.
No.
Right.
They have
Well,
some
they
big,
came-
some bigger issues they're discussing.
Yeah, they
Like
came
your
out pretty
taxes.
fast on the sea grape thing. So
What?
they came out pretty fast on our sea grape complaint.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So was that the general consensus then to keep it to, just bring it back in April, May, June, July 1st meeting or July meeting?
Okay.
I think what you just said is pretty persuasive, that it's not like there's a whole lot of our citizens that are going to be put out by this. So let's just wait.
Chrissy, do we need a date certain, or do we need a motion with a date certain, or
No,
since we
just
advertise?
consensus is fine. We'll just bring it back for first reading July agenda.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you. Thank you for everybody's opinion. Moving on to the reports. So one of the things you gotta think about it. This town is so neat that literally all we're talking about is fake grass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, there's
That's
other
what makes
towns
it
that have
so,
bigger issues.
that's a
yeah.
great town. Our first town manager.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to take this opportunity to let everybody know that we're having our first special event in April. So typically, we have that wonderful special event in the holiday time, December, Light the Lights. We have received so much good feedback during that event, and everybody said we should do this more often. Now we've come together with this idea for Spring Tidings, April 17th. And the idea is to celebrate mid-year, bringing everybody back together again and checking in with their neighbors, basically. So coming together in the same place in town hall here, there will be hors d'oeuvres, there will be beverages, adult beverages, and you can dress nicely. It's 2 hours, and it'll be a great time to see your friends and neighborhood family. So don't forget that. We have those flyers available for anyone who needs them. And I have a memo in the backup material for you, so any questions you have, them available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from Michelle? Thank you. Christie,
Oh, no report tonight. Thank you.
thank you.
You know, I have some for the town manager, actually. I don't know how many people have gone down to the beach. I know Tim probably has in the last 5-6 days. All that sand from Delray is now blanketing our shore.
Yep.
You know how long that's gonna continue? I mean, it's like a 1/4 mile to a 1/3 mile out. The
The water's cloudy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sand. I mean, it's like silt.
My understanding is about 2 months.
2 months.
2 months is the projection for the work that will be going on.
Has anyone ever seen this before in town?
Yeah.
I never remember seeing it.
Every time they
At,
do
at
it.
our end of town. The north end all the time. No, when you're out there, it's pushing north.
But it's the wind's pushing all the debris and all the silt north.
When I'm snorkeling, the current is headed north.
Gulf Stream.
The sand goes south.
So the sand goes against the current?
No, but the silt goes north with the current.
I know.
Sounds counterintuitive, but anyway. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Christie. Chief?
Yes, sir. My report, January report is in your packet. Another active month. You can see by the numbers, 430 stops, 13 arrests. Crime is down. We're battling fraud still. It's basically come down if you didn't initiate the call, don't answer any questions. Don't feel the need to even answer the phone. I was reminded, just now with all the events in the world too, with the there's increased cyber security attacks too, so be very vigilant there. I'm happy to report that the 911 consolidation that I told you was going to happen, it died on the table. I guess it's we'll have to battle it next year.
Right.
And that's all.
How about the camera at Beachway? I thought that video that you shared, I don't know if you can publicly talk about it, it caused police problems, but it was kind of fascinating.
Yeah, we had a bicyclist not stop for the red light and drove her bicycle directly into the side of a pickup truck.
Yeah,
And
which
it was
you'd
all-
assume, if we didn't have the camera there, you would assume the pickup truck hit the bike. She literally, 78-year-old woman,
Mhm.
coming north on A1A at Wilbright. 2 cars come out and she just doesn't get it. The third car is a truck and she literally drives into the back door of his truck
Wow.
and hits the deck. She was pretty busted up, actually.
I think just broken rib.
Broken ribs.
Wow. Pretty resilient.
The camera clarity was amazing. So good work on the technology on that.
Yeah, it's helped out in other cases.
Thank you, Chief.
Can I comment for the benefit of the public?
You've been up 4 times. We'll give you Chief about this. It used to be a no left turn sign going south at Woolbright when you turn into Beachway. It hasn't been there. And a FDOT is doing something about it.
We filed 4 reports. We're at the mercy of them. The sign did fall down and it does cause a problem. We can't enforce it now, so we're hoping that it comes
It
soon.
needs to go back up because I've seen near accidents there.
I said if I had a
Often.
bucket truck, I'd replace it, but I don't.
Yeah. Have you noticed that sign?
Yeah, but I also noticed another sign that you reminded me, there's a sign on A1A and Tropical that I don't think the town put up.
No, they didn't.
What's
No,
that?
a property.
I'm taking care of it.
Are you taking care? I was like, what is that sign? I forgot all about it till
What
just
does it
now.
say?
Yeah, it was brought to my attention. Yeah, we're looking at it.
What's the sign? say?
Okay.
What's it say?
What's it say?
Something about you can't go on the street or whatever. What is it say?
Private drive?
Through traffic. Drive.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I took the sign, I had the sign taken down.
Uh-huh.
And then after research of similar signs in the town, I thought it was fair enough argument to allow it to stay up. But the semantics of it, I said, let the town put it back up. We put it back up. The sign was there for a long time when somebody else had put it. As soon as we tacked it up, I would think there was like, there's been a couple handful of, I think people call each other and then everybody starts calling here. But, the intent was good and that we were trying to be consistent with everything else. The language on the sign needs, some tweaking, but I was trying to be consistent in the enforcement and, approaching things with a culture of yes and not continuously the culture of no. So we are still working on it. We're going to get that sign is going to come down because people don't like the call out of that. There's what is it,
Well,
CC
yeah, TV monitored.
on it. But in essence, there's no difference on that street from the westbound traffic than the eastbound traffic where it does have a local only sign, and local access only, and many other streets that are off of the same area that have
Well,
those signs. So
Well,
we're
the
trying
thing
to
is,
be,
they all look the same.
That's what-
They're town signs. It's-
part of what I was going to bring back to you during the summer is a sign program where we actually, since they're all illegal, let's face it, right? None of them fall under FDOT rules. And so from that standpoint, they should all look like the little wooden signs that we have that say 13 miles an hour, because those are illegal too,
Mhm.
right? So they should all just be,
They're just.
All right, well, let's do this.
but they should all look the same.
Conversation.
Beautiful.
Hour.
Yeah. We're
So let's bring that
a
up.
summer conversation.
Right.
But everyone
Conversation.
should know that when a sign goes up, believe me, the phone calls come to me as much as they're going to everybody else. So
Okay.
we're enforcing.
The chief casually mentioned the 911 bill that died, but he deserves tremendous credit from all of us and the town for the efforts that he underwent at our urgent request working with our lobbyist. This dispatch bill was up last year. It died, came back with a vengeance this year, and our lobbyists were really fighting hard against it, where they were trying to get rid of local dispatch. Everything would be consolidated into the county. And of course, we didn't want that, neither did our neighboring communities. And the chief got right to work, and he wrote letters on behalf of the Police Chiefs Association. He called our legislators when I asked him to, and we got it done.
And thanks to you, you gave me the number for the legislature. You worked hard too.
Very nice. All right, folks, I guess that's it. I'll see you next month, April. Well, you want something else to write about? Thank you, meeting adjourned.
John, you missed the commendation for
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ambrose.
More-
yeah, you were late.